Okay, so the first exercise is the number 4, because you're going to cross your ankle over the opposite knee, create a 90-degree line as much as you can, and you can either hold underneath your thigh, pull the leg in. If you feel like you've got a lot of flexibility, you can hold on to the top of the leg here, or as you loosen up, you may find that you can pull in and hold on to the leg this way. So you're going to hold that for about a minute on both sides, obviously. So you're trying to loosen up through the hip. You're going to be thinking about pushing the knee away from you and just holding out with flexed feet on both legs, pulling the little toe side of your foot toward your knee. And that should give you a lot of awareness of your deep hip muscle, your piriformis. So once you've done that, that should always be your first stretch, that cross-legged stretch on both sides. And pay a little attention to the leg that you're tighter on, holding that a little bit longer. Next stretch would be your cross-legged stretch. So you're going to take one leg, just cross it over, and then you're going to lift up with the weight on your feet and on your shoulders, and move your hips over to the side where the leg is crossed on top. Arms go out to the side and lay flat through the shoulder blades, and then let your legs fall to the side. So you're just going to let gravity do all the work here. You're not pushing, you're not forcing the stretch, you're really just passively letting gravity do all the work. Shoulder blades are down on the floor, and you can feel that stretch maybe through the back. You might feel it through the chest if you're keeping the shoulders down, and then through the glutes and through the hip, and there's no wrong answer. You're just going to feel it where you need it the most. From your right side to your left side, you may feel the tension greater in a different area, and that's okay too. Just pay attention to it because it's telling you where you need to stretch the most. So great passive release for your lower back. So careful when you come out of it because you're in a deep stretch, then you're a little bit vulnerable, so be careful of your back. So again, on the other side, the setup is like this. Cross over, lift your hips up, move your hips in the direction where you're not going to turn, and what you're doing is creating a little bit more room for range of motion here. Rotating to the side. And again, you're going to hold that for 30 seconds to a minute, just relaxing, not pushing, and the more you can just breathe through, the muscles will release and relax a little bit more as you hold. Third stretch, imagine that your feet are on a yoga mat, so you've got about maybe 2 feet between the two of them. You're going to take both legs and let them fall to the same side, and just get there first. Think about how that feels, probably through the front of the hip, a little bit more through the side. And then if you feel like you can go deeper, your front heel comes up and rests on your knee. So pulls it down just a little bit more and gives you a little bit of traction, a little resistance in that leg to make the stretch go slightly deeper. And hold that there. Again, 30 seconds to a minute on that side. And then you'll switch sides and repeat it on the opposite side. And again, give yourself some room here. They're not going to feel exactly the same. Pay attention to which side's tighter, where you feel it the most. Okay, so from here, lastly, I'm going to do a stretch at the wall. Helps if you take your shoes off so that you can do this one. And you're going to come a little bit more upright. So you're going to kneel next to the wall. You could do this one. It's a little bit more forgiving if you do it next to a chair or a sofa. But you want to get into a kneeling position. And right now, I have my knee fairly close to the wall because I've been doing this for about a year consistently. But when I started with my knee a little further away, so the stretch is not quite so intense. What you do have to do though is press through your hips, push forward, and lift your shoulders and chest back. So you're really feeling the stretch deep in your hip flexors. So I can be in this position, but not really feel the stretch if I let myself just kind of be lazy in here. So press forward, hold on to it, shoulder blades down and back, and just breathe through it. You're going to hold this position for 1 minute, and then from there, you're going to come up and hold this at the top for 1 minute. So you're going to be just a little bit more tense here through your hip and try to keep pulling your tailbone down. So if you're tipping backward, or your pelvis is falling forward in front like you were spilling water out this cup, you're not gonna feel the stretch quite so much, but if you kind of try to press your tailbone down, you're gonna feel a much greater stretch, a little less comfortable through your hip flexor. That's kind of what you're after, is discomfort. By the time you reach a minute, it should be coming a little bit easier. When you get really good at this one, you may take the arm up and reach back, so you're stretching through the whole anterior side. Repeat the same thing on the other side. A minute down position, and then a minute in the up position. And this one may come a little bit slower, so don't expect necessarily to get here the first time you do it. Just do the best you can. And when you feel like the hip flexors are opening, what you're doing is taking a lot of stress and tension off of your lower back. The last one I'm going to do in a standing position, we're just going to focus on my legs while I'm in this position. So I would do it with shoes on probably, just for the video's sake. I'm going to leave them off so it goes a little bit faster. So coming into a lunge position, traditionally if I were exercising and doing a lunge, I'd be going up and down. What you want to do with this, because we really want to stretch, is not let the pelvis tip forward, but tip the tailbone down. Hold that position, so I'm feeling already a good stretch through my hip flexor here. And then I'm going to take my back knee and tap down, but then straighten it without really changing the level of my pelvis. So I'm going to touch, and then I'm going to press straight back and feel that intense stretch just a little bit more so at my hip flexor. A lot of strength coming on here. And then you switch sides, 3 on each.